Tonight, as the world outside grows quiet, let us drift back through time to a world of gleaming armor and whispered secrets. Imagine, if you will, the sun dipping below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of deep orange and soft purple. A gentle breeze rustles through the leaves of ancient oaks, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and distant campfires. This is the world of the Knights Templar, a world both magnificent and enigmatic. We're not going to delve into complicated battles or political intrigue tonight. Instead, let us simply allow ourselves to be gently carried along by the current of their story, like a leaf floating down a calm river. Picture a young man, perhaps from a noble family, perhaps not. He feels a calling, a yearning for something greater than himself. He sees the ideals of the Crusades, a holy war to reclaim sacred lands, and feels the pull of faith, the desire to serve a higher purpose. He pledges an oath, takes up arms, not just for earthly glory, but for the protection of pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land. He joins the ranks of the Knights Templar, a brotherhood bound by vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. Their white mantles, marked by a red cross, become a symbol of hope and protection amidst the turmoil of the Crusades. These are not mere soldiers, they are guardians of faith, protectors of the weak. Their training is rigorous, their discipline unwavering. They learn the art of warfare, of course, mastering swordsmanship, horsemanship, and strategy. But they also delve into the deeper mysteries of faith, studying sacred texts, offering prayers, and striving for spiritual enlightenment. Imagine them journeying across the vast distances of the Holy Land, their presence a beacon of security amidst the danger and uncertainty. Picture them tending to the injured, offering aid to the needy, their actions echoing the principles of chivalry. The sun beats down on their armor, turning it to shimmering steel. They share meager meals, their camaraderie strengthened by shared experiences and a common commitment to their sacred mission. Their nights are filled with the murmur of prayers and the quiet rustle of their white mantles. Each man finds solace in the shared faith and mutual respect that binds their brotherhood. Their story, though, is not simply one of heroism and piety. As the years pass, whispers of immense wealth begin to circulate. Rumors paint a picture of a powerful order, controlling vast resources, wielding influence beyond their military might. These whispers would later become accusations, and those accusations would eventually lead to their downfall. But for now, as we drift towards sleep, let us focus on the quieter moments, the simpler aspects of their lives. Imagine the quiet evenings spent around a crackling fire, the sounds of voices low and comforting, the feeling of shared purpose and unwavering faith. Let the image of those men, cloaked in white, their faith bright against the harsh landscape, settle softly in your mind as you gently drift off to sleep. Good night. The year is 1096. Imagine yourself, if you will, standing on the dusty road leading east, the sun a hazy orb in the pale sky. The air is thick with the scent of dried earth and sweat. The sounds a low hum of human voices, the creak of carts, and the rhythmic clip-clop of horses' hooves. This is the First Crusade, a vast ocean of people flowing towards Jerusalem, a city shimmering with religious significance, a holy grail in the hearts of countless believers. But the path is not smooth. This is not a pilgrimage of gentle prayer and quiet reflection. The land is harsh, unforgiving. The threat of bandits and warring factions hangs heavy in the air, a shadow lurking in every sun-baked valley, every crumbling ruin. Pilgrims, many of them elderly, women with children clinging to their skirts, travel with fear etched upon their faces. The journey is fraught with peril. Survival is not guaranteed. Amidst this fervent yet vulnerable tide of humanity, a new order is born, a beacon of hope in a chaotic world. The Knights Templar, they will later be called. Picture them, at first a small band, clad in simple white mantles, their faces etched with a solemn determination. They are not mere soldiers, though they are skilled fighters, trained to defend those weaker than themselves. They are guardians, protectors, sworn to shepherd pilgrims safely to the Holy Land and back. They move amongst the crowds, offering assistance where needed, providing security and a sense of calm amidst the ever-present unease. Their presence is a soothing balm, a promise of safety in a landscape teeming with danger. You can almost feel the reassuring weight of their presence, hear the quiet confidence in their words, a comforting contrast to the harsh realities of their surroundings. Think of the weary traveler finding solace in their watchful eyes, the burdened mother finding a moment of peace knowing her family is under their protection. Their vows bind them to a life of poverty, chastity, and obedience. It is not a life of luxury or personal gain, but one of selfless service. Their commitment is absolute, their devotion unwavering. As the sun dips below the horizon each evening, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, you can almost see them gathered together, praying for the safety of those under their care, for strength to endure the challenges ahead. The whisper of their prayers mingles with the night sounds of the desert, a quiet symphony of faith and devotion. The dusty roads wind on, stretching endlessly towards the east. The sun rises and sets, day after day, casting long shadows across the land. But amidst the hardship and uncertainty, the presence of the Templars, those silent guardians, offers a small measure of comfort, a glimmer of hope. They are a testament to the power of faith, a symbol of protection and compassion in a world often consumed by violence and fear. And as you drift off to sleep, let their image, a quiet presence amidst the vastness, bring you peace and calm. The year is 1128. Imagine the chill air of a French autumn settling over the newly founded Knights Templar. Their headquarters, a modest building at first, nestled close to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. But it was not the stones and mortar that gave the order its strength. It was the unwavering structure of their lives, a disciplined rhythm that echoed the wisdom of Saint Bernard of Clairvaux. He, a powerful voice in the church, saw in these knights a reflection of God's unwavering dedication. Saint Bernard's influence shaped the very fabric of the Templar order. He provided them with a formal rule, a guide for their actions, their beliefs, their very existence. It was a life dedicated to piety, to martial skill, and to service to the Church. Picture the scene: the sun rising over the Holy Land, painting the sky in hues of soft rose and gold. A bell tolls, a gentle chime calling the knights from their simple sleeping quarters. The day begins with prayer, the rhythmic chanting filling the quiet halls. Each voice, though unique, blends with the others, creating a serene harmony. The prayers, often whispered in Latin, were a foundation to their day, a reminder of their sacred vows. Poverty, chastity, and obedience, these were not simply words to them, they were the pillars of their existence. Each brother, stripped of earthly possessions, sought only spiritual wealth and the approval of God. After the morning prayers, The knights moved with a practiced grace to their daily tasks. Some might sharpen their swords, the rasp of steel on whetstone, a calming, repetitive sound. Others tended the small gardens that provided a portion of their sustenance, the earth grounding them in a physical rhythm that matched the spiritual. The work was not solely physical. Much time was spent in study, reading holy texts, and pondering the scriptures. The clash of steel was balanced by the quiet contemplation of the divine. The midday meal was a simple affair. No elaborate feasts here, only sustenance to sustain their bodies for the arduous work ahead. Evenings brought more prayers, more study, more quiet reflection. The clinking of steel, a sound now associated with their daily chores, was not a symbol of aggression, but of dedication to the tasks at hand. Their armor, meticulously cleaned and maintained, symbolized the protection they offered to pilgrims and the sanctity of their vows. The weight of their commitment was not merely physical, it was a profound spiritual burden. They carried the weight of their vows, the weight of their faith, and the weight of the protection of the Holy Land. Yet this very weight seemed to forge them into a unified body, a brotherhood bound by a common purpose and an unwavering faith. Their lives governed by the rule of Saint Bernard and the rhythms of their daily routine were a testament to their dedication, a calming, consistent hum within the chaotic world around them. As the day ends and the moon rises above the Holy Land, imagine the gentle sounds of their evening prayers, a peaceful lullaby that fades into the soft night. Imagine, if you will, a time long ago when the world felt a little less safe, a little more uncertain. Across the battlefields of the Holy Land, a striking symbol cut through the chaos, a crimson cross, bold and unwavering, emblazoned upon the tunics of the Knights Templar. Picture those tunics, perhaps worn and stained from countless journeys, from the dust of the desert to the mud of the battlefield. Each thread, each carefully stitched cross held a story of unwavering faith, of courage in the face of overwhelming odds, a story whispered on the wind as the knights rode forth. The Red Cross wasn't just a decoration, it was a promise, a beacon of hope amidst the clash of steel. It represented their dedication to protecting pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land, a journey fraught with peril. Think of the weary travelers, their faces etched with worry and exhaustion, seeing that scarlet cross approaching, a wave of relief washing over them, a feeling of security in a harsh and unforgiving world. The Templars, with their unwavering commitment, were a tangible manifestation of God's protection in a place often devoid of it. Their armor, heavy and protective, gleamed under the harsh sun, each piece meticulously crafted, reflecting the meticulous nature of their order. They moved as one, a well-oiled machine, their training honed to perfection over years of rigorous discipline. Visualize their long swords, their lances held high, the sun glinting off the polished metal. But their strength wasn't solely physical. It resided in their faith, in their shared belief, their brotherhood. They were bound not just by vows, but by a common purpose, a commitment to something larger than themselves. Now close your eyes and try to hear the sounds of that era, the rhythmic clang of horses' hooves on the rocky terrain, the distant rumble of battle, the whispered prayers under the desert stars. Imagine the knights themselves, their faces grim but determined, their eyes fixed on their duty, their hearts filled with a devotion that transcended the mortal realm. The Red Cross, a powerful symbol of their faith, served not only a mark of identification, but as a constant reminder of their sacred mission, a source of strength when facing the unimaginable horrors of war. Consider the weight of their responsibilities. They weren't just warriors, they were protectors, custodians of sacred sites, diplomats, and often the last line of defense for those in desperate need. Think of the countless acts of bravery performed under that crimson banner, the lives saved, the battles won, the unwavering commitment to a cause larger than themselves. The Red Cross, bathed in the warm glow of a setting sun, stood as a testament to their enduring legacy, a symbol of courage, faith, and unwavering devotion in a world often consumed by conflict. Let that image, that feeling of strength and unwavering commitment, wash over you as you drift off to sleep. The sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the dusty roads of the Holy Land. For centuries, pilgrims had journeyed from far-off lands, their hearts filled with faith, their steps guided by the hope of reaching sacred sites. But the journey was perilous. Bands of raiders, often taking advantage of the pilgrims' vulnerability, roamed the unforgiving terrain. The whispers of violence were always present, a constant hum beneath the prayers and chants. So the construction began, stone by painstaking stone. Imagine the scene. Sun-baked hillsides slowly yielding to the might of human hands. Each hammer blow a testament to the desire for safety. Each carefully laid brick a step towards peace. Towering walls, strong and sturdy, rose from the earth. Initially modest structures, but growing into mighty fortresses, slowly but surely. These weren't mere buildings, they were sanctuaries, symbols of unwavering resolve against the encroaching forces of Islam. Picture yourself standing within the walls of one such stronghold, perhaps Crac de Chevalier, its imposing silhouette cutting sharply against the azure sky. The air is thick with the scent of stone and earth, a quiet hum of activity, the measured tread of guards patrolling the ramparts, the soft clink of metal on metal as a blacksmith works in the courtyard. The sun warms your face as you look out across the valley, the landscape a tapestry of olive groves and vineyards. Yet beyond, the ever-present threat lingers, a reminder of the importance of these strong bastions. The castles weren't randomly placed. Each was meticulously chosen for its strategic advantage. Perched atop hills, commanding vantage points, they formed a network, a chain of protection, linking one fortified settlement to another. Messengers would hurry along well-trodden paths, carrying vital information, ensuring swift communication between these scattered sentinels of safety. The riders would travel on sturdy mounts, their eyes ever vigilant, ever watching for signs of danger. Their mission, a simple yet profoundly crucial one, safeguarding the lives of those traveling to holy places. The nights were often long and cold. Within those thick walls, the flickering candlelight of the guardroom offered a comforting glow against the vast darkness beyond. Each watchman, whether seasoned veteran or newly appointed recruit, shared in the burden of responsibility, understanding the sacred duty they were sworn to uphold. Their quiet presence was a silent promise, whispered on the night wind, a promise of security, of protection, of safe passage for all who sought shelter within their protective embrace. The weight of that responsibility, the constant vigilance, the unending watch, this was the price of peace, the silent narrative of the protectors of pilgrims. And as you drift off, imagine the quiet strength of these guardians, their unwavering dedication echoing softly in the stillness of the night. The Knights Templar, Those enigmatic warriors of faith were not merely pious men in flowing robes. They were masters of the battlefield, their skill honed through years of rigorous training and unwavering discipline. Picture them, if you will, not in the hushed quiet of a chapel, but amidst the dust and clamor of battle. Imagine the glint of sunlight on polished armor, the rhythmic clang of swords meeting swords, a symphony of steel played out on the bloody stage of a medieval conflict. Their fighting style was a testament to precision and efficiency. No chaotic flailing here. Every movement was deliberate, every strike calculated. They were experts in mounted combat, their cavalry charges a thunderous wave crashing against enemy lines. The ground trembled beneath the hooves of their war horses, a palpable force that instilled fear even before the first blade found its mark. Their horses, too, were carefully chosen and trained, their loyalty and strength as vital as the skill of the knights themselves. Think of the sound, the thunder of hooves, 1,000 strong, pounding the earth in a relentless rhythm, the sharp crack of lances shattering against shields, the desperate cries of men caught in the tempest of their attack. The Templar cavalry, a whirlwind of steel and fury, could break even the most formidable infantry formations. But their prowess extended beyond brute force. The Templars were renowned for their strategic brilliance, their understanding of battlefield tactics as sharp as their swords. They were not simply warriors. They were strategists, planners, and masters of logistics. Before each battle, they meticulously planned their approach, considering terrain, enemy strengths and weaknesses, and the optimal deployment of their forces. They understood the value of surprise, using cunning maneuvers and feints to disrupt enemy lines and gain a decisive advantage. Imagine the hushed whispers in the Templar camp as they plotted their next move. Maps are spread out on rough-hewn tables, illuminated by flickering candlelight. Fingers trace lines on parchment, outlining plans for flanking maneuvers, ambushes, and carefully coordinated assaults. The air is thick with the quiet intensity of focused determination. This quiet planning often proved as deadly as any sword strike. Their sieges were legendary, a testament to their engineering skills as much as their fighting ability. They were masters of siege weaponry, employing catapults, siege towers, and battering rams with deadly efficiency. Their fortifications were strategically placed, impregnable bastions that held fast against the fiercest assaults. Even when outnumbered, their disciplined formations and strategic thinking often turned the tide of battle. The echoes of their victories still resonate through the ages. Victories hard won, bought with courage and skill, shaped by careful planning and unwavering resolve. Each clash of steel, each thunderous charge, each strategic maneuver added to their formidable reputation, a legacy of military prowess and strategic brilliance that continues to fascinate and inspire to this day. Let these images fade now into the peaceful quiet of your sleep. Now, as the Medici family's influence blossomed, picture Florence, a city slowly transforming under their careful hand. The cobblestones, once rough and uneven, began to yield to smoother pathways, funded by their ever-growing wealth. Their coffers, once modestly filled, overflowed with gold from trade, from shrewd investments, and from the patronage of popes and kings. They acquired vast estates, rolling hillsides dotted with olive groves and vineyards, each sun-drenched leaf whispering tales of their prosperity. Think of the weight of that land, the sheer expanse of their holdings, stretching across the Italian countryside, a tangible representation of their power. The whispers started subtly, like the rustling of silk in a hushed chamber. Envy, a persistent shadow, clung to the edges of their success. Other families, once their equals, now looked upon them with a mixture of admiration and resentment. The Medici name, once known only within the Florentine circles, began to echo throughout Europe's grand courts and bustling marketplaces. This expansion wasn't merely about acquiring land and resources. It was about weaving a complex web of alliances, carefully cultivating friendships with those in power, and subtly influencing decisions that shaped the continent. Imagine a Medici emissary, impeccably dressed in velvet and silk, entering the opulent chambers of a European monarch. The subtle sway of his hand, the carefully chosen words, all contributing to a carefully orchestrated dance of diplomacy. He presented gifts, not just trinkets, but symbols of their power, a priceless tapestry, a meticulously crafted sculpture, a perfectly formed pearl necklace. Each offering was a carefully considered investment, solidifying relationships and furthering the family's ambitions. But with this vast influence came a growing sense of unease, a subtle shift in the air. The whispers of envy turned into murmurs of suspicion, the murmurs into hushed accusations. Were they too powerful? Did their ambitions overshadow the well-being of Florence? Rumors spread like wildfire, fueled by those who felt slighted were threatened by their meteoric rise. The weight of their power became a double-edged sword, bringing immense privilege, but also attracting an ever-watchful gaze, a constant scrutiny that followed their every move. The family navigated this delicate balance with a practiced skill, blending charm and ruthlessness, generosity and shrewd calculation. Their vast network of informants kept them abreast of any potential threats, allowing them to subtly counteract any opposition before it could fully form. Yet, the weight of their influence, the constant pressure to maintain their position, was a burden they carried, a silent undercurrent to their opulent lives. It was a life lived in the gilded cage of power, a life where every decision had consequences that rippled outwards, affecting not just their family, but the fate of nations. Let the quiet hum of their story lull you into a peaceful slumber. The year is 1291. The salty air hangs heavy, thick with the scent of brine and distant storms. You are aboard a creaking vessel, one of many carrying the remnants of a once mighty order. Acre, the last Crusader stronghold in the Holy Land, has fallen. The sun dips low, casting long shadows across the deck, painting the faces of the weary Templars in hues of orange and deep violet. The rhythmic creak of the hull, the whisper of the wind in the rigging, these are the lullabies of your journey home, a journey far different from those undertaken in the fervor of Crusade. The fall of Acre, it echoes in the silence between the waves, a deep, resounding thud in the heart. For centuries, the Knights Templar had stood as a bulwark against the tide of Islam, their swords shining bright under the scorching sun of the Levant. Now the sun sets on their eastern dominion, replaced by a lingering twilight of loss and uncertainty. Each man carries his own burden, his own memories of battle, siege, and the camaraderie forged in the fires of war. Some gaze out at the endless horizon, lost in their thoughts, perhaps reliving glorious victories or agonizing defeats. Others clutch worn rosaries, murmuring prayers for solace and strength. The voyage is long, stretching on like an endless tapestry, woven with days and nights indistinguishable from one another. The vastness of the sea mirrors the vastness of their inner turmoil. The sea is a relentless force, echoing the unpredictable nature of their future. One day, the sun shines brilliantly, warming the deck and offering a temporary respite from the weight of their sorrow. The next, a tempest rages, tossing the ship like a toy, mirroring the storm within their hearts. They talk little, these men who once strode with such confidence across the battlefields of the Holy Land. The silence is punctuated only by the groan of timbers, the cries of gulls, and the occasional murmured prayer. The sea offers a strange kind of solace. In its vastness, their individual losses feel somewhat less isolating. The ocean, indifferent to their triumphs and their failures, absorbs their grief. Yet, even this vast expanse cannot erase the bitter taste of defeat. The memory of Acre, its towering walls, its bustling markets, now reduced to rubble, haunts their dreams. There are whispers of betrayal, of internal strife, of decisions made in the heat of battle that now weigh heavy on their consciences. There are also whispers of hope, fragile and faint, clinging to the tattered edges of their faith. They are returning to Europe, to a world that has changed without them. They are returning to a Europe that may not fully understand their losses, a Europe that may question the very purpose of their existence. The Templars, protectors of pilgrims, guardians of the Holy Land, are now adrift, their mission altered, their future uncertain. As the ship nears the shores of Europe, a new anxiety stirs within them. They are not simply returning home, they are returning to face scrutiny and suspicion. The land is still distant. The sea whispers its secrets to the wind, a wind that carries their uncertain fate. The horizon, now tinged with the soft colors of dawn, offers little comfort. Only time will tell what awaits them on the shores of Europe. But as they sail on, the gentle rhythm of the waves, the whisper of the wind, carries them toward a new chapter, a new beginning, a new sleep. Close your eyes now. Let the sound of the waves wash away your worries and drift peacefully to sleep. The year is 1013. Imagine the chill autumn air settling over France, a dampness clinging to the stone walls of castles and the cobblestones of Paris. King Philip IV, a man known as much for his ambition as his cunning, sits in his chambers, the flickering candlelight dancing on his worried face. His kingdom is deep in debt, a heavy cloak of financial burden weighing upon his every decision. And he needs money, a great deal of it. His gaze, sharp and calculating, falls upon the Knights Templar, a powerful order of warrior monks, wealthy and influential beyond measure. The Templars, with their vast holdings and international network, have long been a force to be reckoned with. Their wealth, accumulated over centuries of crusades and shrewd investments, is the stuff of legends. But now, in the deepening shadows of Philip's ambition, that wealth is seen not as a source of strength, but as a tempting prize, a prize to be claimed. So begins the insidious whisper campaign, a carefully orchestrated spread of rumors and half-truths, accusations of heresy, of devil worship, of unspeakable rites performed under the cover of darkness. These whispers slither through the court, growing louder, more insistent with each passing day. Philip, the master puppeteer, pulls the strings, guiding the narrative to suit his own ends. Imagine the Templars themselves, perhaps initially dismissing the whispers as the idle chatter of envious rivals. But the accusations grow bolder, more pointed. Arrests are made, swift and brutal, in the dead of night. Knights who once stood shoulder to shoulder in the Holy Land are now separated, isolated, their bonds of brotherhood shattered by the king's machinations. The weight of these unfounded accusations presses down on them, crushing their spirits. The whispers turn to shouts, and the shouts to accusations before a terrified and confused populace. The once sacred vows, once a source of strength, now feel like shackles binding them to a fate they cannot comprehend. Fear, a cold and suffocating presence, seeps into the very stones of their strongholds. Their trials are a sham, a grotesque parody of justice. Torture, the ultimate tool of the desperate and the cruel, is used to extract confessions, to twist the truth until it becomes unrecognizable. Imagine the pain, the agony, the breaking of a man's will under the relentless pressure. Imagine the silent screams swallowed by the cold walls of the prison. The grip of Philip's power tightens, slowly, inexorably. He manipulates the Pope, using religious fervor and political maneuvering to legitimize his actions. The Templars, once revered pilgrims, are now portrayed as vile heretics, enemies of God and crown. Their wealth, so painfully gathered, is confiscated, flowing into the king's coffers, easing his financial woes. The story of the Knights Templar ends in darkness. Their order is dissolved, their legacy tarnished by the lies and manipulations of a king desperate for power and money. As you drift off to sleep, perhaps you can feel the lingering chill of that autumn night in 1307, the weight of those false accusations hanging heavy in the air, a grim reminder of how easily ambition and greed can corrupt even the most powerful institutions. Sleep now, and let the quiet calm of the night wash over you. The year is 1610. A chill wind whispers through the cobblestone streets of Seville, carrying with it the scent of orange blossoms and something else, something colder, something like fear. It starts subtly, a hushed conversation here, a hurried glance there. Then the whispers grow louder, more insistent. Arrests. In the dead of night, men and women are snatched from their beds, their families left in stunned silence. The only sound, the scrape of boots on the stone. Imagine, if you will, the heavy oak door of your home creaking open, the flickering lantern light revealing stern faces, hard eyes. No explanation, only the rough hands pulling you away from the warmth of your sleeping child, the comforting presence of your spouse. You're bundled into a carriage, the darkness pressing in, your heart a frantic drum against your ribs. This is the beginning of a long, cold night. The cells were damp and cold, the air thick with the smell of mildew and despair. Each prisoner, a story untold, a life interrupted. Some were accused of heresy, their beliefs differing slightly from the rigid doctrines of the Church. Others were merely unlucky, caught in the net of suspicion, their names whispered by a jealous neighbor, a disgruntled rival. The accusations were often vague, the evidence flimsy, built on rumors and hearsay. But the Inquisition cared little for truth or justice. They sought confessions, regardless of guilt. The interrogations began. Days bled into weeks, weeks into months. The relentless questioning, the subtle threats, the outright torture. Imagine the pressure, the constant weight of unseen eyes, the feeling of being utterly alone, stripped bare of your dignity, your hope, your very self. The sounds that filled those chambers were not gentle. They were sharp, harsh, and unforgettable. The cries of the accused echoed through the stone walls, pleas for mercy lost in the chilling silence that followed. A silence broken only by the rhythmic drip of water, the scratching of a quill pen, the occasional sharp intake of breath, a stifled sob. The air itself seemed to vibrate with fear, a tangible presence that choked the life from the very air around you. You might hear the crack of a whip, the sickening thud of a body against the cold stone floor. These were the sounds of the Inquisition. They were designed to break a person, to force a confession, no matter how false. Some found strength in their faith, whispering prayers in the dark, finding solace in the hope of a better life beyond the walls. Others lost their minds, their spirits crushed under the immense weight of terror and despair. They confessed to crimes they never committed, their words driven by desperation and fear, a desperate attempt to escape the unending torment. The Inquisition had achieved its purpose: silence. The chilling silence that settled over Seville was a testament to its brutal efficiency. And all the while, the wind whispers through the city, carrying the scent of orange blossoms and the ghosts of those who were never heard from again. Close your eyes now and let the gentle sounds of the night carry you into a peaceful slumber. The year is 1307. A chill wind whispers through the stone walls of French prisons, carrying with it the weight of unspoken fears. King Philip's accusations hang heavy in the air, a suffocating blanket woven from lies and ambition. The Knights Templar, once revered protectors of pilgrims, now find themselves trapped in a nightmare, their unwavering faith tested to its breaking point. Imagine the cold stone beneath you, the rough fabric of your tunic scratching against your skin. You are a Templar, perhaps a seasoned knight, perhaps a younger brother, your life's work, your very identity suddenly under siege. The questioning begins subtly, a gentle inquiry here, a probing question there. But the kindness is a mask, a thin veil concealing the brutal reality that awaits. Days bleed into weeks, the monotonous rhythm of interrogation punctuated only by the occasional, chilling shriek from a nearby cell. Sleep becomes a luxury you can barely afford, your mind a battlefield of fear and dwindling hope. The bread is meager, the water cold, yet these physical discomforts pale in comparison to the gnawing dread that claws at your soul. Then comes the pressure, the subtle twisting of words, the implication of guilt where none exists. You are offered a chance to confess, to admit to crimes you did not commit, to save yourself from unspeakable torment. The alternative? That remains unspoken, but it hangs in the air, a silent, terrifying promise. The flicker of a candle, the glint of steel in the guard's eye. These small things become magnified, monstrous in the suffocating darkness of your confinement. The first cracks appear. A fellow Templar, his spirit broken by relentless questioning, whispers a false confession, his words a poisoned arrow aimed at your heart. You hear his wavering voice, the strained, desperate plea for mercy. Doubt, an insidious serpent, begins to coil around your mind. Is there truth in their accusations? Could you, somehow, unknowingly have been involved? The physical torment begins slowly. The subtle tightening of ropes, the chilling weight of chains, the bone-jarring pressure of your limbs bound in unnatural positions. The guards' voices, once calm, become harsh, their words laced with barely concealed threats. The pain intensifies, a growing crescendo that assaults your senses, blurring the lines between reality and hallucination. Your body screams in protest, but your mind, battered and bruised, struggles to maintain its grip on sanity. The confessions begin to pour out, a torrent of fabricated heresies and blasphemies, a desperate attempt to escape the unrelenting agony. You hear your own voice, a hollow echo, confessing to acts you never performed, renouncing beliefs you hold sacred. The weight of these false pronouncements crushes you, leaving you feeling utterly broken, stripped bare of your identity, your dignity, and your faith. And as the darkness descends, you find yourself clinging to a sliver of hope that somehow, somewhere, the truth will eventually prevail. Even if it's a hope whispered on the wind, faint and barely audible in the echoing silence of your cell. Rest now. Let the weight of it all fade with the coming dawn. The year is 1798. A chill wind whispers through the ancient stones of the Order's headquarters, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and the faintest hint of wood smoke. A scent that, in better times, would have been comforting, a familiar hearth fire against the encroaching night. Now it's a mournful sigh, a lament for what is lost. The sun, a pale disk sinking below the horizon, casts long skeletal shadows across the courtyard, highlighting the emptiness where bustling activity once thrived. The official decree arrived not with fanfare, not with the clash of steel or the roar of a mob, but with a quiet formality, a carefully worded parchment sealed with the heavy signet of the crown. It spoke of sedition, of clandestine meetings, of a threat to the established order. It spoke of dissolution, of the seizure of all assets, of the immediate dispersal of the order's members. The words spread slowly, like a stain spreading across a fine tapestry, each thread representing a life, a home, a history woven into the fabric of the order. There were no screams, no desperate acts of defiance, just a quiet acceptance, a resignation that settled like a heavy blanket on the shoulders of those who had once held such power. Brother Thomas, his hands gnarled with age and years spent tending the order's herb garden, watched as soldiers, their faces grim and impassive, inventoried the library, its ancient tomes and fragile scrolls destined for the royal archives, or perhaps, worse, for the flames. He remembered the countless hours spent poring over those pages, deciphering secrets whispered across centuries. Now, the knowledge, the wisdom, felt like grains of sand slipping through his fingers. Sister Agnes, her eyes, once bright with fervent faith, now clouded with a weary sadness, oversaw the dismantling of the apothecary. The delicate vials, filled with potent tinctures and carefully cultivated herbs, were confiscated, their healing properties now a matter of the state's control, their unique knowledge possibly lost. The scent of chamomile and lavender, once a comfort, now felt like a cruel reminder of a lost sanctuary. One by one, the members of the order packed what little they could carry: a worn book, a cherished painting, a simple locket, mementos of a life dedicated to principles now deemed subversive, a devotion rendered obsolete. They dispersed into the night, shadows moving amongst shadows, their paths diverging, their future uncertain. Some found refuge in quiet villages, their skills and knowledge subtly influencing the lives of those around them, a faint echo of their former influence. Others disappeared into anonymity, their past becoming a closely guarded secret, a whisper passed from one generation to the next. The mighty edifice, once a beacon of learning and spiritual guidance, fell silent, its grandeur slowly succumbing to the inevitable march of time. The gardens, once meticulously tended, were left to run wild, their vibrant flowers choked by creeping vines, mirroring the slow decay of an institution and a way of life. The whispers of the order, once powerful and resonant, faded into the rustling leaves, a melancholy melody carried only on the wind. The stones themselves seemed to mourn, their very silence echoing the quiet devastation. The years spun on, leaving behind only whispers and shadows. The initial shock faded, replaced by a slow, creeping unease. Where had they gone? What had become of those vibrant lives, so suddenly stilled? The official reports, terse and unsatisfactory, offered little comfort. Accidents? A catastrophic event? The explanations felt flimsy, like cobwebs brushed aside by a restless hand. And so, the questions lingered, persistent as the hum of a distant engine. Did something more sinister lie beneath the surface? Theories blossomed, strange and beautiful, like wildflowers pushing through cracks in the pavement. Some spoke of a hidden conspiracy, a shadowy organization removing inconvenient individuals. Others whispered of a secret society, guardians of an ancient knowledge, perhaps taking them to a hidden world beyond our comprehension. Imagine the hushed conversations, the furtive glances, the hushed tones in dimly lit rooms. Friends and family, their hearts heavy with grief, clinging to any shred of hope, any flicker of explanation. Letters went unanswered, phone calls went to voicemail, and the silence became a deafening roar. Each passing year only deepened the mystery, turning unanswered questions into chilling enigmas. The lost became figures of myth, their stories echoing through generations. Children tucked into bed would hear hushed tales of the vanished, their imaginations painting vivid passages and secret societies. Adults, gathered around flickering candlelight, would share their own theories, fueled by speculation and a shared sense of unease. Was it a government experiment gone wrong? A sudden unforeseen shift in the fabric of reality? Or perhaps, just perhaps, something far more inexplicable? The possibilities seemed endless, each more fantastical than the last. And in that very ambiguity, in the space between known facts and wild speculation, resided a chilling power. The silence itself became a character in the unfolding narrative, a constant reminder of the unknown, the unanswered. Each unanswered question spawned 100 more, a tangled web of possibility and speculation. The enduring myths, fueled by grief and uncertainty, slowly transmuted into legends, shaping the landscape of local folklore. They became figures of folklore, their stories woven into the tapestry of whispered tales. Generations later, the faded photographs, the lingering scent of their perfume, the echo of their laughter. These faint traces were all that remained. And yet, even as time marched inexorably onward, the questions persisted, a quiet, haunting refrain in the symphony of forgotten things. The mystery, like a stubborn weed, refused to die, its roots entwined with the very fabric of memory. Let the echoes of their absence comfort you into sleep. Let the whispers of mystery lull you into peaceful slumber. And in the quiet stillness of the night, perhaps, just perhaps, you might hear their faint voices on the wind. The Knights Templar. Even the name whispers of mystery, doesn't it? Imagine, if you will, a time long ago, a world steeped in the fervor of the Crusades. Picture these warriors, clad in their distinctive white mantles, sworn to protect pilgrims journeying to the Holy Land. Their story, their legend, continues to resonate through the ages, a quiet hum beneath the surface of our modern world. Their influence weaves its way subtly through our literature, a faint echo in the grand tales of chivalry and daring adventures. Think of the brave knights, ever vigilant, ever faithful, who fight against impossible odds, protecting the innocent and upholding justice. Many such heroes, consciously or unconsciously, draw their strength and inspiration from the mystique surrounding the Templars. Their dedication, their code, their very existence provides a rich tapestry for writers to explore the themes of faith, courage, and the enduring struggle between good and evil. And then there's the cinema, that wondrous world of moving images. The silver screen has given us countless portrayals of the Knights Templar, each interpretation adding its own layer to the enduring legend. Sometimes they are depicted as noble, selfless protectors, battling the forces of darkness with unwavering faith. Other times, the narratives explore the darker side, hinting at hidden secrets and forbidden knowledge, fueling the endless fascination with their enigmatic history. Picture the flickering light of the projector, the hushed anticipation of the audience, as another chapter of Templar lore unfold. From the swashbuckling adventures of yesteryear to the more nuanced portrayals of today, the Templars remain a compelling subject. They are not simply historical figures, they are symbols. Symbols of unwavering loyalty, of unwavering faith, of a brotherhood bound by sacred oaths and a shared purpose. Even in fictional accounts, their presence carries weight, adding depth and intrigue to any story they grace. The thrill of the chase, the mystery of hidden treasures, the weight of ancient secrets, these elements all contribute to the enduring appeal of the Templar Order in popular culture. Think of the books you've read, the films you've seen, the games you've played. How often have you encountered echoes of the Templars, perhaps veiled in illusion, perhaps presented more openly? Their iconic cross, their whispered secrets, their enduring legacy. They weave themselves into the very fabric of our collective imagination. The allure is undeniable. The mystery persists. Their story continues to unfold, not only in history books, but also in the pages of our favorite stories, the scenes of our favorite films. And as you drift off to sleep, allow yourself to imagine their story continuing playing softly in the background of your dreams. The knights remain, forever vigilant, forever a part of the enduring human narrative. Let their story lull you gently into the quiet embrace of sleep. Now, as the embers of the day fade and the quiet of night settles in, let's gently untangle some historical threads, separating fact from fiction. We'll explore how stories, sometimes embellished, sometimes entirely invented, took root and flourished, shaping our understanding of the past. And as we unravel these narratives, remember, the truth, like a slow-burning candle, casts a calm and steady light. Consider the tales of great empires. Often, we hear of emperors with superhuman strength, of battles fought with mythical weapons, of cities built in a single day. These embellishments, while exciting, often obscure the reality of human endeavor. The construction of the Great Wall of China, for instance, wasn't achieved by magic, but by the tireless work of countless people over centuries. Their efforts, the sweat and toil, the ingenious engineering, were far more remarkable than any fantastical story. The reality is richer and more human than the myth. Think of the stories surrounding legendary figures. Heroes are often depicted as flawless, invincible, existing outside the realm of normal human experience. But even the most celebrated leaders, the most valiant warriors, faced doubts, made mistakes, and experienced the full range of human emotions. Alexander the Great, for example, was a brilliant military strategist, but he was also impulsive and prone to fits of rage. Understanding the complexities of these figures, their vulnerabilities alongside their achievements, gives us a far more nuanced and relatable picture. And what of those narratives that explain events through supernatural means? The plague, the eruption of volcanoes, famines. Often, these were attributed to the wrath of gods or the actions of evil spirits. While these explanations provided a sense of order in a chaotic world, they often prevented a deeper understanding of the underlying causes. Today, we know that the Black Death was caused by a bacterium, not divine punishment. Understanding the scientific explanations behind historical events allows us to approach the past with a clearer, more compassionate lens. Consider the stories whispered around campfires, passed down through generations. These oral histories, though invaluable in preserving cultural memories, often undergo changes over time. Details are lost, perspectives shift, and embellishments add layers of myth to the core of factual events. This isn't to say these stories are unimportant. On the contrary, they offer valuable insights into the beliefs and values of past societies. But it's crucial to approach them with a critical eye, separating the kernel of truth from the layers of narrative embellishment that have accumulated over centuries. As we peel back these layers, as we examine historical events with a discerning gaze, the truth emerges. It's not always a dramatic, sweeping narrative, but it's a narrative that is rich with the details of human experience. It's a narrative that is both inspiring and humbling, showcasing the enduring strength and resilience of the human spirit amidst the trials and tribulations of history. Let the calm, steady light of factual understanding drift off to sleep as the quiet echoes of history settle gently around you. The whispers of the Knights Templar, even now, centuries after their fall, continue to echo through the halls of history. Their story, a tapestry woven with threads of faith, warfare, and mystery, leaves a lasting impression, a mark etched not just in stone and parchment, but in the very fabric of our collective consciousness. Picture them, if you will, these warrior monks clad in their distinctive white mantles, bearing the iconic red cross, a symbol that continues to capture the imagination. That simple cross, a potent symbol of their devotion to the Holy Land and their commitment to protecting pilgrims, became a badge of honor, a beacon of hope for some, and a mark of fear for others. Think of the journey they undertook, a pilgrimage not just to Jerusalem, but to the very heart of faith itself. They faced incredible hardships, dangers lurking around every corner, from the scorching desert sun to the clash of swords in the holy wars. Yet they persevered, driven by a profound belief in their mission and a fierce dedication to their order. Their story teaches us resilience, the strength found in shared purpose, and the enduring power of faith, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. Their legacy extends far beyond the battlefield. They were also skilled administrators, shrewd financiers, and pioneering builders. They built magnificent structures, grand castles, and impressive commanderies, leaving behind architectural marvels that still stand as testaments to their skill and ingenuity. The very design of these structures, the intricate details, the strategic placement, all speak of a level of planning and organization that was far ahead of its time. And these structures were more than just fortifications. They were centers of learning, hubs of commerce, and places of refuge, demonstrating a multifaceted contribution to medieval society. The enduring power of their symbols is undeniable. The Red Cross, originally a simple emblem, transcended its utilitarian function and became a powerful representation of spiritual devotion, courage, and protection. Even now, variations of the cross and other Templar symbols can be found woven into the fabric of our modern world, a subtle reminder of their lasting impact. Their enigmatic seal, with its two knights riding a single horse, continues to spark discussions and interpretations, a visual testament to their unwavering loyalty and brotherhood. Their story, their symbols, remain deeply ingrained in our cultural memory, inspiring countless books, films, and works of art. Perhaps their most enduring lesson is the fragile nature of power and the importance of balance. Their meteoric rise and sudden downfall serve as a cautionary tale, reminding us that even the most powerful organizations are vulnerable to the tides of history. Their story reminds us to be mindful of the impact our actions have, the necessity of justice, and the importance of maintaining integrity. As you drift to sleep, remember the Knights Templar, a potent reminder of history's complexities, the enduring power of symbols, and the quiet strength that can be found in faith and unwavering belief. Let their legacy inspire you to find your own path, your purpose, and to leave your own mark, however small, on the world. Drift away now into the quiet embrace of slumber. Let the echoes of history fade into the stillness of the night. Sweet dreams. Imagine you are nestled deep within a moonlit meadow, the air soft and warm against your skin. The scent of wildflowers, a gentle perfume carried on the evening breeze, surrounds you. Fireflies blink lazily in the distance, their tiny lights like scattered stars fallen to earth. The crickets chirp their lullaby, a rhythmic, soothing melody that blends with the rustling of leaves in the gentle night wind. Think of a time long ago, perhaps the era of the Roman Empire. Picture yourself strolling along the Appian Way, the sun dipping below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. The stones beneath your feet are worn smooth by countless travelers, their stories etched into the very fabric of the road. You hear the faint sounds of distant voices, the rhythmic clip-clop of horses' hooves, the low murmur of conversations carried on the evening air. All these sounds now whisper softly, their energy fading as the night deepens. Now, let your mind wander further back in time to ancient Egypt. Imagine the slow, deliberate rhythm of the Nile River, its waters flowing silently, carrying secrets through the heart of the land. Feel the warm sands beneath your feet, the weight of the desert sky above. You can almost hear the soft chants of the priests, the faint sounds of ancient rituals echoing across the centuries. These sounds now become gentle waves, washing over you, carrying away any lingering thoughts. Let the image of the pyramids, majestic and timeless, fade into the darkness. Let the whispers of the pharaohs become a soft humming, a lullaby from the past. Feel the weight of your eyelids growing heavier, your breathing slowing, becoming deeper and more even. Then journey to a simpler time, a small village nestled in a valley centuries ago. You see smoke curling from thatched roofs, hear the gentle bleating of sheep, the comforting sounds of a family preparing for the night. They are tucked into their beds, just as you are now. Their worries, their joys, their hopes, they've all been absorbed by the earth, the stars, the endless passage of time. Feel yourself drifting closer to this peaceful scene. Let the sounds of the village fade into the stillness of your own mind. The crackling of the fire, the lowing of the cattle, the gentle murmur of conversations, these all dissolve into the quiet hum of the universe. You are cocooned in this peaceful village, cradled in the quiet night. Your worries melt away like snow in springtime, leaving only a feeling of calm contentment. The night deepens, and with it your slumber. You feel a profound sense of peace, of belonging, as if the very fabric of the universe is holding you gently, whispering secrets of the ages in your ear. The past, present, and future become one seamless tapestry, a gentle blanket of comforting quietude. Your body relaxes completely and utterly, your mind settling into a tranquil stillness, ready for the restorative sleep that awaits. Let the echoes of history fade into the stillness of the night. Sweet dreams.